Good morning everyone, my name's Tony Farrell, and for those that don't know me, I used to be the Principal Intelligence Analyst at South Yorkshire Police, and in 2010, July, I was chucked out of that organisation for speaking truth to the Chief Constable and my management regarding the terror threat, and in particular the events of the London bombings, which I was unable to accept by way of a government narrative that was ludicrous. But I'm not here to talk about that specifically. I'm here because I've been involved over the last 6 months with a particularly interesting case, and a lady that is called Seven. And what I wanted to do is I've spent 6 months working on this case along with Seven, and we've just produced a joint report. And we're about to unleash that report on the public, and I'm just here to pave the way in order to show the details of that report. So I met Seven on the 1st of May 2012 outside a protest at the Independent Police Complaints Commission, and from that point onwards I increasingly became familiar with her story, and it's an incredible story. It's a story of state cover-up of monstrous proportions. It's a story that involves gang stalking, what I would class as domestic terror, and a monstrous cover-up in the judiciary and the police service. And it is really something that I believe has the potential to add insight into the events regarding the London bombings and the terror fear-mongering tactics that were perpetrated throughout July 2005 and all the subsequent cover-up of those monstrous atrocities. My research now on this has now come to an end, and I have produced, along with Seven, a joint report, and that joint report is about to be unleashed on the public. That report makes strong accusations. It's about a 250-page report, and it's got appendices which double the size of that report. And I'm here really, before I introduce Seven, I'm here just to sort of give an outline as to what is in the report and what other information we're about to impart. So I'm just going to turn now to the report structure. The report will have an introduction about the Miss Seven's case, and it will give the context. This case started in 2003 and 2004 and was closed down in 2008. Now, it's complex, therefore I'm not going into the intricate details of the court case, but suffice to say, this case and this report will show skullduggery within the courtroom, and we have the proof. So the context will actually examine the court case that went before various judges, and this was the case of Miss Seven versus GOSSAGE and 9 others. Subsequently, the part 2 of the report will be my detailed analysis. Now this is me putting my analytical hat on. In my old former role as a Principal Intelligence Analyst, I have taken a look at what was before the courts. I have taken a look as to what has happened since. I have stood back and examined the court process and everything that's happened in and around this case. And in this analysis, I am behaving as if I was the Principal Intelligence Analyst and preparing information that I would be wanted to present to my Chief Constable. I am making strong inferences. I'm making inferences against named individuals and named organisations. Sadly, I'm making inferences about corrupt practice in organisations that have the responsibility for protecting us and for giving us justice. One of the reasons why I'm going public is because, I'm afraid to say, that the information that's available to me offers up compelling evidence that there is corruption within the police service, particularly in the Metropolitan Police, and widespread corruption in the judiciary. And the inferences I'm making will expose those elements. And it's all in the report. A third part of the report will be the fact that I'm making inferences on various events that have happened, whereby my probability assessment is that at least five people in this case could well have been murdered as opposed to met their deaths some other way. And that I'm making very strong inferences in that case. Murdered in order to cover up and keep quiet and silence the evidence that is within. Part 4 of the report contains analysis and Seven's own reflections of various parts of her case that have unfolded over the years, but with particular reference to the connections with the London bombings and what was going on in the country in July 2005. Now, even before I knew Seven and was familiar with any of her case, I knew that 7/7 was an inside job. Having met Seven and familiarised myself with the case, I am persuaded that her case gives fresh insight and a new dimension to what really may well have happened on the London bombings. And, for instance, on the 22nd of July 2005, the assassination of Jean-Charles de Menezes. The report further goes on to give my own personal experience since I met Seven. Because a feature of this case, and it does have many unusual features, is the extent of the gang stalking that Miss Seven has endured over a prolonged period of time. Since meeting with Seven and since working with Seven on this report, I too have actually been first-hand witness to some, only a fraction, but to some of the kind of experiences that Seven has endured. And believe you me, I am astounded and staggered by how organised and how sick and putrid the whole thing is. Since being seconded and helping Seven on her case and working on this case, I have witnessed agents of the state behave in an utterly corrupt and inappropriate manner. I am persuaded, having spent 6 months on this case, that Miss Seven and her case needs to be heard. It needs to be heard by the public. It's not a case that we can trust just to hand over to the police. Because I'm afraid to say, we have evidence here that on 65 occasions, Miss Seven has gone to the police for help. And this spans nearly a period of 10 years. And on 65 occasions, I can point towards a total abject failure by the police service to protect a victim of monstrous criminality. I believe that this is a supremely important case. Had it not been, I wouldn't have actually invested the time and the effort and the pain and the fear to actually engage myself and embrace this case in its entirety. There is abundant evidence that's been through the courts that can support all the inferences and the allegations that we're making. One of the things over and above the reports will be a 25-minute video that we've made. This video contains what I believe is real dynamite. The dynamite being audio tapes of a court hearing a crucial court hearing that occurred in 2006 in front of Judge Pumphrey. Pumphrey is now dead, but these tapes were released by Judge Warren. These tapes show that this case that Miss Seven had against GOSSAGE and 9 others was, in no uncertain terms, heading towards a criminal trial, and that Miss Seven was eligible to apply for default, summary default, because of the lack of defence by certain defendants. There was no way this case was going to get struck out. But what subsequently transpired was so polarised from the utterances by Judge Pumphrey in the hearing that it smacks of corruption and cover-up. Pumphrey died, but not before he was silent, not before he was promoted, not before he was knighted. Ultimately, there was an attempt by Lord Justice Lawrence Collins, a solicitor, that made rapid strides in promotion to close it down. So all this case is now about to be exposed with all the evidence that we're releasing. I've gone through the report. The appendices contain material that was in the courtroom, witness statements, compelling evidence, evidence that Judge Pumphrey in 2006, that can be verified by the audio tapes, is on record as saying that Miss Seven, as a litigant in person, produces the best evidence that he has ever seen produced by a litigant in person. On a level of truth, he cannot doubt the truthfulness and the integrity of Miss Seven as she presented herself in a 3-day hearing. Now, unfortunately, that then subsequently did not bear any resemblance to the subsequent court order and judgment that came out that had the hallmarks of the defence barrister all over it. This is clear indication of massive corruption, and this is about what we're exposing. But the appendices will contain the witness statements. The final thing, over and above the witness statements and the affidavits that are available, will be my analysis that was before the Employment Tribunal in the Royal Court of Justice, before Lady Dame Janet Smith, about the London bombings. And even before I knew Seven, why I, as the Principal Intelligence in South Yorkshire Police, could not believe the official narrative of 7/7 and the full, unadulterated analysis that was available but was closed down by our corrupt British system is available as an extra appendices to supplement the whole thing. This is an incredible case. It's complex. We can't put it across in 20 minutes, but for those with a willingness to actually understand all this, the material is there, the evidence is compelling. Thank you very much.
My background is I've been a concepts designer and an inventor within the entertainment industry for the last 30 years, and I was targeted by a group of individuals operating within the mainstream media, entertainment industry and media law firms. Well, basically, I had developed a multimedia platform because my brother died at the very young age of 30, and I decided in his, as a sort of tribute to his life, to develop something, because I was already in the entertainment industry at that time. I knew a lot of people that worked in television. I was actually a musician as well. And I wanted to do something that incorporated some of my skills. I also dance, and I knew lots of dancers, professional dancers. And so I decided to develop something that I felt could be of benefit to people internationally. And so I developed this health and fitness multimedia platform and was looking into trading it. Okay, these are some of the shows that were stolen from me by Helen Alexander and Jim Manson, Christopher Gossage, Richard Hanna. So 1, The Games, 2, Fit Farm, 3, Body On, 4, Big Fat Doc, 5, Celebrities Exposed, 6, Strictly Come Dancing, 7, Strictly Dance Fever. That's also Dancing with Stars in the US. We've got Dancing on Ice. From my script, they stole Finish This. It became a competition called End of Story. We had Britain on the Move, Walk the Walk. Basically, there's a whole lot of other stuff. You Are What You Eat, 10 Years Younger, Fit Street, Fat Nation, Cosmetic Surgery Live, At Home Concepts, Diet Doctors. There's a whole list of shows that were converted from my documents that were stolen. And this was the reason behind me being terrorized for the last 10 years, because they don't want people to know this. So these are some of the people that have benefited from the sale of my work. You can see here BBC, ITV, Endemol, Channel 4, NTL, who are also Virgin Media, Celador. There's a whole list of other production companies worldwide who have benefited. Number 1, Christopher Gossage. Number 2 is Russell's media law firm, which are based in Regent Street, West London. Number 3 is Richard Hanna. Number 4 is Clarion NTL, who disbanded and merged as Virgin Media in 2006, and more recently have sold the company again to Liberty Corporation. Number 5 is Helen Mary Alexander. Number 6 is Jim Manson, and Helen Mary Alexander and Jim Manson are from Scottish Media Groups, who are number 7. Scottish Media Groups have changed their name to Scottish TV, STV. Number 8 is Tamsin Allen from Bindman and Partners, media law firm. Number 9 is Derek Rosenblatt of Ronald Fletcher and Co. And number 10 is Christopher Vaughan. My case began because I was targeted for my intellectual property after going to see Russell's media law firm in 2003. Myself and another witness was taken on the basis of identity, fraud and deception to a meeting which took place in NTL's bankrupted facilities in 2003. Unbeknown to me, there was a conspiracy with these individuals operating within mainstream media to steal documents that I had created and convert them into multitudes of television shows and sell them worldwide. And from this stage onwards became a journey for me which has led me to this point in my life. And it's a very harrowing story. But just to summarize, once the documents were stolen in 2003, which was stolen by Helen Mary Alexander with her accomplices, with my lawyer's involvement, I became basically terrorized from that point onwards. And although I went to the police on many occasions, myself and witnesses, once my work was sold all over the world, because there were very, very big deals for large amounts of money with loads of big companies involved, I was put under surveillance. I had my phone tapped. I started receiving death threats as I tried to challenge them and demand payment and acknowledgement for my work. And by 2004, this became an absolute nightmare, which resulted in me having to take legal proceedings in the Royal Courts of Justice. I ask you to listen to it, read this report, and to circulate it, because this is a case and a situation that has historical importance. It has a high public interest in relation to people wanting to know what really went down with 7/7 and what was really behind it.